Hello and welcome to Mutual Fund Sahi Hai presents Smart Nivesh Sahi Nivesh, partnered by Times Network. This episode is part of our goal setting series, and on today's episode we're going to be talking about a very important goal, the goal of a wedding, of a marriage that you are planning, maybe for a child or even for yourself. How do you get about that? What are the important things that need to be covered? The finances, of course, but also the basics behind planning for that momentous occasion. I have two experts with me joining me in studio. First up, we have Swati Kumari. She's the founder at Be Wealthy. And we also have Devanshi Patel. She's the founder at Shreem Events. Swati, Devanshi, thank you so much for joining me. Devanshi, first up, you're a wedding planner. The first question I'm sure people always ask you is, how much is it going to cost me to plan a wedding? How do you answer that? What are the kind of key components of that need to be kept in mind?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here. So this is a very vague question. Like, whenever it comes to me, a lot of my clients do ask me that, कितना लगेगा ये शादी के लिए? Budget कितना होना चाहिए? Usually my reply to them is, sir, आप बताइए, what is your budget? Because every wedding has a different budget. I can say a wedding can cost 50 lakhs, a wedding can cost 10 lakhs, a wedding can cost 10 crores. There's no limit to this. It's moreover, like I always tell people, it's a black hole. How much ever you spend in a wedding these days is never going to be enough. So an ideal budget for a wedding you can set with having some parameters in mind.
Right.
Like the kind of guest list you're looking at, how many people you want to invite for your wedding. Do you want to do it in your own city or you want to plan a destination wedding? If you do a destination wedding, do you want it to be in India or you want it internationally? So, your economics kind of flows in these questions. So, I feel there are too many parameters to this. And these days that people want to create experiences. It's no more like a set wedding. In earlier times, people used to do weddings where they used to say, Aaj haldi hai, mehndi hai, next day in the morning shadi hai and reception hai. Now, there are 20 sets of events that come in. People want to do a Sufi night. People want to do, let's say, a Sangeet night. A cocktail night is a different night. People are getting married first and then doing all the rest of the events. So, all of this has changed.
So it's almost like the universe is your playground. You can pick and choose whatever you want.
100%.
So Swati, then the important point becomes there, because what Devanshi started with, she's like, what is your budget in mind? One thing I want to talk to you specifically about is where a person might have a budget in mind, but they forget about the inflation, because this is how much I feel I can pay today, but the wedding might be happening many years later.
Right.
So the impact of inflation, especially on something like a wedding, if you could touch upon that.
Look, Sumit rightly said, inflation plays a big role while planning for any goal, any financial goal for that matter. So as I was reading about one report on this wedding thing, and the report said that in 2023, the average cost of hosting a wedding in India is 28 lakhs. 2022, it was 25 lakhs. That's a significant jump of 12%. So normally what we say that whenever you are planning a goal or setting, you want to accumulate a certain corpus for that goal, factor in at least 7% of inflation. But for wedding, can you do that? I don't think so. So for example, if you want to buy something which costs you say 10 lakhs today, now 7% inflation, after 10 years, you have to take out almost 16 or 19 lakhs of rupees. But for wedding, for example, if your budget is today in terms is 10 lakhs, you take 7% inflation, 20 years of time, you will accumulate 38 lakhs. But in 20 years, 38 lakhs, I don't think that would be enough, right? So if you take 10%, then you would be able to accumulate around 62 lakhs. Pretty decent amount, probably. I don't know, depending on universe is your playground. So, single digit inflation, if you factor in, I think you are going to be a little stressed when the actual event comes up.
Devanshi, what are some other silent expenses that people might not realize that they're happening on the face of it? Like, for example, you said, okay, I have to do 4 events, etc., etc. But are there some kind of hidden expenses that just pop up that you've seen people not realize?
Of course, all the time. In fact, whenever we start with a meeting, we always tell them to have certain suspense account. Because there are so many expenses like a transport cost, a housekeeping cost, a gen set cost, which you've not factored in your mind.
Yeah,
but it is going to happen. When you book an artist, you're thinking you're paying a price for the artist, but you have to do their TLB, which is their travel, lodging, boarding. You need to, have their meals onboarded. So there are a lot of these sort of accounts that come in back end. Same thing with your vendors. You're getting in a makeup artist who's traveling from Delhi, who's going to bear the expense of that.
True.
So people actually go on the face value, but there's a lot that happens back end.
Swati, now the important thing what we talk on the channel through all these kind of programs is that whatever investments people do, they should somewhere be inflation beating returns. Otherwise your money is just going down rather than increasing. So coming to your point where you're saying that if this is the kind of double-digit inflation that you have to keep in mind, what are some products that you feel could be used from an investment point of view for people to kind of beat this inflation, to build that wedding corpus?
Interesting question. In India, Sumit, normally parents start saving for this particular goal from the very beginning. Child is born, okay, ab shaadi karwaenge iski to hame paise chahiye honge, right? So they have pretty decent time horizon in front of them, 20-25 years, if they start pretty early. And for that time duration, if you're looking for a financial product, I think equity is,
right,
the only choice, I guess. But we have a very interesting thing called mutual funds.
Right.
And it has all the flavors, and it's for anyone with any kind of risk appetite or time horizon. So more than 5 years time horizon, equity mutual fund is your to-go thing.
Right.
If you have less than 5 years, then there's a hybrid category. 2-3 years, debt category. So we have all the options there. So I think for long-term 10 plus, 5 plus year, I think equity, pure equity fund, and you can create your own portfolio over there. There are multiple choice under equity category as well, but depending on your risk appetite.
So I want to just take this a little bit further, Swati, with you. Is, let's say there are two scenarios. One is where a wedding is maybe 5 years later, or a second wedding is maybe 10 years later, and they've got some money, but they say we'll regularly invest for the this duration. What are some kind of mutual funds that they can invest in? Because the difference is the time horizon is different, so the product obviously differs. So how would you guide someone in that?
So if your time horizon is more than 10 years, or it's 10 years, 15, 20 years, whatever it is.
Let's assume 20 years.
I'll go with equity fund. I'll create probably for this particular goal, I'll have 2 funds in my portfolio. Probably I'll go with one index large cap and one multi-cap or a flexi cap. Flexi cap are usually large cap tilted, so I'll go with probably a multi-cap. If the time horizon is less than 5 years, then hybrid is where I will choose funds from. They're aggressive hybrid or conservative hybrid or balanced advantage. Again, that depending on the risk appetite of the person.
Right.
But I think balanced advantage is my favorite one.
Okay, great. Devanshi, from a monetary point of view, what's your experience been? How do you guide them? So if somebody had said, I'm going to spend 100 on the wedding, how much do they actually end up? How many weddings have you seen that they actually budget 100 and finish in 100? And how many go over? What's like a sense that you have?
So a very valid question, I would say. 90% of the weddings have always exceeded their budget. It's just the 10% who's working actually backward on the budget.
Okay.
And who's sticking to the goals or the plan that they have had. Like you rightly said, that it's a very emotional thing. It's also overwhelming. And like you said, that the day the girl is born in the house or a boy is born in the house, the parents start thinking that, okay, we'll have to get them married 20 years down the line, 25 years down the line, and they start saving back then. But eventually we got to see how generations changing. Like their demands are changing. It's not what actually parents thought of. It's also what the Gen Z crowd nowadays are thinking, that, oh no, I would like an entry this way, or maybe I want to make an entire production set for my Sangeet. And I'm sure at such a point of time, we've come across this multiple times, parents would not say a no. They would say, all right, you want it, let's go ahead. But in this case, they always end up going over and above their budgets. So I always guide them in the very start that, 20% amount in your mind, you should always have it, that you're going to go overboard in case you like something. These are basics. Whatever you have in mind is basic. But if you think eventually you want to get the best of the production in, best of the styling in decor, best planners in, there's a little bit of component which is going to go higher.
Okay, interesting. So you have to keep that buffer amount
Yes.
somewhere or the other. You know, Swati, I just want to come a little deeper on one point that you made earlier. If somebody has a long time horizons, 20 years approx, or let's say 15 years plus के बाद शादी होने वाली है, and they've said, okay, right now we're investing in equity mutual funds. Once you're coming closer to that goal, so now if you're planning this after 15 years, 12 years have passed, 13 years have passed. What do we do with that money? The reason why I'm trying to get to is that, as we know, equity markets are volatile.
Correct.
When you want that money for 15th year, but in, God forbid, in the 14th year, if the markets go down, something like COVID happens, how should these people kind of protect their corpus, which over 14 years they've built well? So what's your guidance
So
to that?
normally what I tell my people that once you have achieved the goal, you see that, for example, you have thought of accumulating say 50 lakhs of rupees. Wedding is still 2-3 years away probably. But today you see that 50 lakh corpus is there in your investment portfolio. I would suggest, even if the wedding is 3 years away, start redeeming the money. Probably in a systematic manner, not everything in one go, then you have to pay lots of taxes again. But start redeeming and shift that money to some safe instrument. Again, mutual funds have options there. You have debt mutual funds, liquid funds in that category is the safest option, I guess. So don't wait until the last moment. Chances are you are going to get shocks, not surprises, for sure. So, yeah.
I think one important point, Swati, is what you said is once you've got to that financial goal, start safeguarding that money, putting it in relatively safer instruments like debt funds.
Don't procrastinate and don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy. I think,
Next
that's
2-3 years, this Sensex is showing all good signs. So probably I'll accumulate 2-3 lakhs more. Don't go that way.
In association with Motorola Razr 50 Ultra with Google Gemini. In association with HSBC Mutual Fund, opening up a world of opportunity.
Journalism is a mission, not just to seek accountability or a fight for justice, but for honesty and integrity. Voicing citizens' concerns and using the truth to demand answers, ensuring that you come first on agenda. Watch News on Agenda with me, Maludas Gopalakrishnan, weeknights at 10 o'clock only on Times Now.
This week on Mutual Fund Sahi Hai presents Smart Nivesh Sahi Nivesh.
Some places in Rajasthan or, Goa, they're more than 3 to 4 crores for 2 nights. Like, it's more than an education fund for an IB schooling that people spend on weddings.
We have a very interesting thing called mutual funds.
Right.
And it has all the flavors and it's for anyone with any kind of risk appetite or time horizon.
At these times,
उड़ी बाबा जियो बीपी में इंटरनेशनल क्वालिटी फ्यूल सबके लिए एट नो एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट।
समझिए ये है आपका 20 लाख का एनुअल हेल्थ कवर। ये क्लेम किया, रीसेट, उसी साल फिर से क्लेम किया, रीसेट, अनलिमिटेड रीसेट है भाई। ICICI लॉम्बार्ड का एलिवेट हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस विद अनलिमिटेड रीसेट बेनिफिट।
Gold standard with Amul Gold. बनाओ गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड वाला मिल्क केक और जस्ट एंजॉय अ ग्लास फुल। ब्लेंड करो स्ट्रॉबेरी का मिल्क शेक। मेक इट गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड विद अमूल गोल्ड। घी में लाओ गोल्डन रिचनेस और दही में पूरी प्योरिटी। चाय बनाओ या कॉफी, मेक इट गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड विद अमूल गोल्ड। शाही पनीर या स्मूदीज, रिच खीर या हो दाल मखनी, मेक इट गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड विद अमूल गोल्ड।
मुख्यमंत्री भगवंत सिंह मान के नेतृत्व वाली पंजाब सरकार मालवा क्षेत्र में बेमिसाल तरक्की और खुशहाली के नए युग की कर रही है शुरुआत। मालवा क्षेत्र में सिंचाई सुविधा में सुधार के दीर्घकालिक समाधान के लिए पंजाब सरकार कर रही है मालवा नहर प्रोजेक्ट का निर्माण।
हरी के पत्तन तो राजस्थान से बॉर्डर तक जाओगी, 149 किलोमीटर लंबी है, 50 फुट ऊपरों चौड़ी है, 12.5 फुट गहराई है, 515 520 ਮੋਗੇ ਨੇ 2 ਲੱਖ ਏਕੜ ਨੂੰ ਪਾਣੀ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ ਜੀ। ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਨਹਿਰ ਬਣ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਆਜ਼ਾਦੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ।
पंजाब सरकार के मालवा नहर प्रोजेक्ट से दक्षिण मालवा क्षेत्र के 5 जिलों बठिंडा, फरीदकोट, श्री मुक्तसर साहब, फिरोजपुर व फाजिल्का में किसानों को लाभ मिलेगा और 2 लाख एकड़ जमीन को नहरी पानी मिलेगा। 2300 करोड़ रुपए के निर्माण लागत से शुरू किए गए इस प्रोजेक्ट का उद्देश्य नहर के पानी के माध्यम से भूमिगत जल स्तर को बचाना और खेती के लिए जल आपूर्ति बढ़ाना है। पंजाब सरकार का मालवा प्रोजेक्ट से प्रदेश में जुड़ने जा रहा है जल प्रबंधन में एक नया अध्याय।
Helps beat sensitivity fast. Sensodyne Rapid Relief. Rise above.
Presenting Kia Ceros, evolved by the future.
Kia, movement that inspires.
बात जब अपने फैमिली के प्रोटेक्शन की हो तो सिर्फ भरोसा नहीं, आपको चाहिए डबल भरोसा। मैक्स लाइफ इंश्योरेंस इज नाउ एक्सिस मैक्स लाइफ इंश्योरेंस। अब है डबल भरोसे का वादा।
Devanshi, one point I would like you to elaborate upon is any tips that you could provide our viewers on how they can somewhere save money or get that same product at a cheaper price. Is there some hacks? What are your insider tips for our viewers?
Of course. So there's something I always say, being bougie on a budget for the weddings. And like you rightly mentioned, how it works with the finance is also with the weddings. Like how you start saving early and then eventually start delegating those funds somewhere. Similarly, I tell people to start planning 9 to 12 months prior because then you get your dates in hand. Now everybody is aware. Earlier it used to be the Panditji who used to be aware of auspicious dates. Now it's the planners, it's the hotels, it's the tourism who knows much more about the dates than the Panditji.
Okay.
Like they know exactly the peak dates which will have the highest cost of the hotel. No more other premium properties like let's say some places in Rajasthan or Goa. They're more than 3 to 4 crores for 2 nighs.
Wow.
So it's a lot of money.
Wow.
It's more than an education fund for an IB schooling that people spend on weddings. So I feel that if you start early in time to plan your wedding, which is 9 to 12 months, number one, that's a big tick. Secondly is if you're okay shifting your dates to an off-season timing, you will get like a 40% cut in your budgets.
Wow.
Because that's something which is not on the auspicious dates which everyone's aiming for. Also, I always recommend people to club events. Like you said, if you are going for one event, there are going to be the same set of people. You're changing your outfit 2 times. You're changing decor 2 times. Might as well have a wedding followed by a reception, which is a high tea and dinner instead of a lunch and dinner. Because lunch is a different cost, dinner is a different cost. 2 different venues clubbed into one. So you're saving on the cost for decor production, etc. Also having a great vendor relationship. So you kind of have the same photography team throughout your wedding. So you don't have to do different TLBs, different costing for each vendor. Invest in a very good planner who can help you out allocate these budgets instead of just coming and coordinating it for you. There's a difference between a coordinator and a planner. Which a lot of people don't understand. So when a planner comes into perspective, they give you this entire budgeting idea that this is how you should plan. This is how you have a suspense account. When a coordinator is in place, they're coordinating just on show day. They would not be able to give you a prefix to this.
Got it.
So these are few things that will kind of help you plan everything on a budget at a good timing and you'll get a desired result that you have in mind as a Pinterest board. And one thing I tell everyone, to have like a reality check in mind. Because, we've all grown up watching Dharma movies. We want larger than life productions happening. And they are. the actor and the actresses of their big day. That's why everybody ends up doing this whole wedding celebration for the amount of guests which are coming in. But keeping that little reality in mind, that this is what I want to stick to and this is what I want to spend, will take them a long way.
Important, and just not go with the social media trends, because that gives you so much FOMO.
There's so much influence of it, 100%.
Swati, similar question. Devanshi spoke to us about the importance of a wedding planner. To you, the importance of a financial planner. How do you guide people on that? Because it's a very valid point where the wedding planner is giving you that full 360 degree. The planner will also talk to you about those hidden expenses that we spoke about earlier that as a person you might have missed. Just your take on the financial planner angle.
When she was talking about the coordinator and the planner, I was thinking about distributor and financial planner. The similar thing. You go to a distributor and tell them, I want to invest this much of amount in these funds probably, and they will facilitate that process. When you go to a planner, they will check each and everything, right from the source of income, how much you are getting every month, where what's your expenditure per month, what's your budget, what are you saving, not saving, and they do a holistic planning for you.
Right.
So I think everyone, if they can afford a planner, they should go to a planner at least once for all the important milestones.
Right.
And don't lie to a planner. Right? Normally we don't want to, normally it happens, Sumit, that people don't share all their assets, their income. They just want to, I don't know why exactly they go to a planner for what, but they do hide it. Maybe they want to, trust the person before they give all the details. But everyone should go and talk to a planner and see if they are on the right track or not.
True. And it's like going to a medical doctor. You can't hide your symptoms. You have to tell the doctor exactly. Swati, one important thing we haven't yet spoken about, when you think about an Indian wedding, the immediate first thing that comes to mind is gold. There has to be gold in an Indian wedding, otherwise it's not an Indian wedding. Okay, I'm generalizing, but that's the sense, you know what I mean. So, there are a couple of ways. One is where, again, if you're looking at, say, parents who are planning for their child's wedding many years later, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. One option is either just buy physical jewelry, it's ready from now. Second option is to buy maybe gold coins or things like and sell it at that time, melt it. But now, with mutual funds, you get this e-gold, in a sense, gold ETFs or gold mutual funds. You can invest in those. So how do you, again, guide people as to what is kind of the best option to look at when talking about gold?
I think the best option for me would be gold funds or ETF. I would have said like SGB, but I think the new tranches are not coming in now.
True.
So given that scenario, gold funds and gold ETF are the best. Even for a silver thing, silver ETFs are good option, because we need silver in lot many stuff in weddings, right? So plus point, you don't have to invest big amount in one go. If you're buying jewelry, you have to. Second thing, you don't have to care about the storage and the safety. And you can plan this also. Again, just like how you plan the wedding ka kharcha ka pura. Similar way, you decide how much gold you want to use or give /give in the, to your daughter or to your son, basically. So, for example, if you decide on 20 tolas, 1 tola is equal to 10 grams. So, today the value would be somewhere around, I think, 15 to 16 lakhs for that. But the gold prices have increased, almost doubled in last 1 decade. So, 10 years down the line, you have to shell out 25 to 30 lakhs of rupees. So, you can plan, okay, if I want to use 20 tolas of gold 10 years or 20 years down the line, this is the amount you have to save every month. So gold ETF and gold funds and silver ETF are the best way if you want to accumulate or for gold, just for the gold purpose.
Superb. Thank you for that. We're running out of time, but one last question to you, Devanshi, and then to you, Swati. Devanshi, your last piece of advice to our viewers who are out there and planning their wedding. What's your final word?
I would definitely say plan early on time. Have a great planner. Live it the way you've dreamt of, because that's what is wedding about, right? At the end, this whole economy or every single person who's working behind a wedding, there are like hundreds of vendors are working for your big day. So I think you should also enjoy your wedding. Instead of just planning, micromanaging everything, like put it down on the paper that you have dreamt of all this while, and let somebody take care of that and enjoy the wedding, because at the end of the day it's your big day.
Super, well put. Swati, last word from you on how our viewers can manage their finances for this important goal of wedding.
I think we have talked enough about managing the finance, Sumit. My piece of advice would be don't take loans for wedding purpose. Easy to get. These are kind of personal loans. So you will definitely overdo it. High interest rate. 10 to 24%. That means a significant chunk of your salary would go into paying EMIs. That leads to two things: frustration at home and stress, because no saving. No saving also means no investment. That will affect your future goals. And if by any chance there's a delay in paying EMI, your score goes for a toss. Getting loans in the future would become difficult. So just maintain a budget, be there, like just don't overdo anything, and loans are strictly no for the wedding purpose.
Very important, and definitely if you haven't started, then start investing today. The time is now. That's the important. Thank you, Swati. Thank you, Devanshi, for coming in, for sharing such important points of view, such important nuggets for our viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, all you needed to know about planning a wedding right here on this very special episode of Mutual Fund Sahi Hai presents Smart Nivesh Sahi Nivesh, partnered by Times Network. Thank you so much for watching.